Hello, and welcome to this eSchool News webcast. My name's Andrew Barber, and I'm a senior contributing editor here at eSchool News. And I'm going to be acting as the moderator for today's presentation, which is sponsored by Fuel Education. And over the next hour, we're going to take a look at how we can reimagine the online learning experience to meet the needs of today's students. And more specifically, we're going to examine the Summit curriculum and ways schools can deliver customized, interactive content to their students anytime, anywhere, and all supported by some powerful analytic tools. And now, before I hand things over to our speakers for today, I just want to take a few moments to highlight a couple of items. First, today's event will be recorded. In a couple of days, you'll receive an email from us that will contain a link to that recorded event, and you'll also be able to download a PDF of the presentation from that same email. And second, please ask questions. Don't feel as if you have to wait until the end. At any point during the presentation, if you have a question, just type it into the Q&A box on your console and hit the submit button. And I hope we'll have 10, maybe 15 minutes at the end when our speakers can address your questions. We also have a chat function which you can launch from that blue group chat icon down at the bottom of your screen. Please use chat to talk among yourselves or to contact me or the eSchool News team with any technical issues or any other concerns you may have. But please don't use the chat function to ask the panelists questions. They simply won't have time during their presentations to monitor the chat. So if you have a question for the presenters, please use the Q&A panel instead. And with that out of the way, let me introduce you to today's speakers. To kick things off, we're going to hear from Chris Pascal, who is the Director of Product Marketing for FuelEd's Summit Curriculum and online courses. And then Chris will hand proceedings over to our main speaker, Teresa Bruns. And Teresa is an education consultant for Fuel Education who, over the course of her career, has held a variety of roles in education, including more than 25 years of teaching at the high school and collegiate levels, as well as online. And before joining the Fuel Ed team, she was the Senior Director of a professional development team at Middlebury Interactive Languages. So welcome, Chris and Teresa. It's a real pleasure to have you here today. Chris, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Andrew. Well, hello, everyone. I first just wanted to thank everyone for joining us today for our webinar, Summit Curriculum, Reimagine the Online Learning Experience. And as we get started, I did want to quickly introduce everybody to Fuel Education. And at Fuel Education, our mission is to partner with schools and districts to enhance student outcomes and drive academic growth. We take that mission seriously. We work with over 2,000 schools and districts to tailor solutions to meet their needs and enable them to personalize learning for their students. So our goal today is to provide everyone with best practices for expanding your online and blended programs. And understanding that many of you are already using online and blended learning, I just wanted to draw your attention to a poll that you're going to see appearing on the screen now, which you can move around your screen within the webinar module. Just want to very quickly ask, how specifically are you looking to expand your online and blended programs? If you could just type any free-form responses you have into that box and submit, we'd love to hear directly from you and see what's on your mind and how you're looking to expand your programs. And at Fuel Ed, we're proud of the outcomes that our schools and districts we're working with have achieved. Our curriculum is used in a variety of online and blended models, as you'll see, for both new schools as well as programs that we implement within existing districts that are just looking to expand their offerings. As one of the industry's largest provider of online courses, we have a wide range of solutions available. We've recently released our new course catalog, which has over 230 self-paced courses for pre-K through 12th grade that were specifically designed for full-time and blended programs. As an educator, we hope we can empower you to say yes, no matter what challenges you face or what courses your students are looking for. You have a lot of options at your fingertips by leveraging Fuel Education. And with that, I'd like to turn things over to Teresa Bruns, who's going to walk you through our Summit curriculum. And with that, take it away, Teresa.
Thanks, Chris. Hi, everybody, and welcome to this webinar. I'm really excited to share with you the Summit curriculum today. It's something that I think you're going to find really exciting. So we're just going to go ahead and take a look at what the Summit curriculum is. The Summit curriculum, sorry, a little below there. All right, the FuelEd Summit curriculum is definitely very flexible. And it's continuously evolving. It really works to your students' needs and to your students' strengths and where they need more support, because it's adapted to each of their strengths and weaknesses. It will deliver for them individualized instructional paths that will provide them with the support that they need. In the fall of 2017, we're excited to introduce Math 6-8. Along with Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. For our English courses, we're going to offer English 9, 10, and an honors versions for all of those courses. We will take a deeper dive today into these courses, and we'll look at what they look like. Just to give you a quick summary, the Summit courses are rich and engaging and interactive, and what I mean by that is you're going to find the curriculum is very rich and engages students. It's also interactive because it is adaptive learning. And so by taking a diagnostic assessment, the student is placed exactly where they should be. The other exciting piece of that, it is based on standards. So it's based on the standards that your kids need. The instruction is differentiated, so it provides opportunities for all students, including the ELL learners. And we'll take a look at that a little bit as well. Within our platform, we offer tools and analytics that will drive the instruction. It will tell you exactly where each student is and where your class is as a whole and what standards they still need to meet. So it will help you drive your instruction. It is also mobile, and it's a very accessible experience in that we're really excited about the platform and the tools that it offers. If you look right there, this is a real quick overview of the types of things that your students and you will experience. This first one with Meet O. Henry, it's really asking them to look at it and kind of make a guess. What are they going to be reading so that students can make a hypothesis? It takes them through pre-reading exercises, as well as you could put this on a whiteboard and share this and talk a little bit about what do they know about William Sidney Porter and what do they know about any of the novels. So it gives them an entrance into the curriculum before they jump right in. You can also see there to the right some of our examples of practice. So they'll have lots of practice, and that practice will be based on their needs and whether or not they're ready to move on to the assessment. Each of the lessons also offers a video, a real-life video. So this is called a Mathcast. It's a 60-second video. We keep them at 60 seconds to make sure that we keep those kids' attention, but it really deals with real-life experiences. Where are you going to use this math? And it shows them how the curriculum can be applied. The videos are very well done. Kids really enjoy them. Okay. So let's just take a look at the learning path. You'll see up at the top reading this diagnostic. So each student will start with a diagnostic. That will determine which path they're going to follow. Will they be on the R-level learner path, or will they be on the supportive content path? That is actually chosen by the results of their diagnostic assessment. Just want to throw out there quickly that teachers can override that if they feel it's necessary. But the readiness diagnostic really does put them where they need to be. When we jump into the curriculum, I will show you what each of those two levels look like, what the curriculum, how it differs a little bit. So once they've had that get ready where they've maybe made some hypothesis about what they are going to learn, and they've seen how it's applied to real life, and they go on to the learner phase. This is where the curriculum walks them through whatever skills or whatever content they're learning from that unit or lesson. After that, they'll stay on their path. They'll go into the practice phase, and they do not switch paths unless the teacher overrides. They will stay on that path. They'll go into the practice. They'll get lots of practice. Just out to the right, I want to pull your attention to the ELL activity. You'll also notice that if a teacher is, puts into the curriculum that it is an ELL learner, there will be additional supports for those non-English speaking students. The same is true in the practice for the enrichment activities. If you've got students that are still they're doing really well and they could use some enrichment, those enrichment activities will be available. So once they've gone through the learn and practice, they come back to the review for the content and then the assessment. You'll notice that the paths come back to the same place, because even though they were on a different path, they do take the same assessment because the standards are the same. We want to make sure that they're hitting all the standards. But the amount of support that's given in the learn and the practice differs by the path that they're on. Okay, moving forward then, we can see here a little bit of the tools and analytics that are provided on the platform. You can see in that top screenshot up there, gives you an idea of where students are, where the class grades are, kind of just an overall, just an overarching quick look at how they're doing. Down below is where the standards and the objectives are pulled out, and you can see how students are doing on the different objectives and the different standards they want to meet. And it gives you an idea of where you want to go with your teaching, you know, whether students have passed it, have mastered those standards, or if they need to go back and get a little bit more practice and learning. And then to the right gives the teacher the ability to manage the differentiated instructions depending on how students are doing in the curriculum. And right now I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll look at some of the curriculum. So give me a second here and I'll pull that up. Okay. What you see there is the actual content. We're going to jump into a Math 6 class, and I'll show you the content of the Math 6 class. So I want to start out by showing you, if you remember that slide where it goes starts out with discussion and then get ready, learn, practice, review, and assess. So I want to show you what that looks like in an actual unit. You can see here now I've pulled up the number properties. We're going to go ahead and jump into 1.02, dividing whole numbers. And right under there you can see there's the get ready, there's the learn, there's the practice, the review, and the assessment. So, and also this will also start out with discussion. You have a discussion question that you can do with the students. Okay, so if we go ahead and jump into the get ready, and that's also on the screen, you can choose it from the left or you can choose it on the bigger screen. This is where it's going to introduce the dividing whole numbers. And I'm going to show you, I can pull this out, and this gives me access to jumping to different lessons. So I won't show the whole video. I won't show the video, but I do want to give you a sense of what these videos look like. These are called our math tests. They're about 60 seconds long, and they're just enough to give students an idea of how dividing numbers could be applied to real life. So this one happens to be about a student who lives on an olive farm, and they need to package so much of the olive oil, crush the olives and package it into olive oil. And how many places they're delivering it to, and so how does he figure out how much he needs? Again, high-level videos, I don't really want to play it on here because I don't think the sound is going to come out terribly well. It's difficult because it'll slow down a little bit, but I do want to show you that down here we have this little person. If you click it, it gives you accessibility. So during the video, we can turn on closed captioning, and everything in the video will be, the students will be able to read it as the video is showing. We also have audio description. And audio description is for those students who may need may need help seeing visually. They would be able to have it described to them on the screen what they're seeing. So just those videos are wonderful, and they really bring the kids into it. And then there's just a quick check. I want to go back now to the main whole 1.02, dividing whole numbers. This is one lesson. So they've done the get ready, and now going on to the learn. Here on the learn, you'll see all the different pieces of this lesson that they will go to. There's another math cast, so another video. It's going to show them how to divide numbers. It's going to walk them through the process. It's going to walk them through the process, and they're going to see. Wait, just there we go. Okay, and she's going to show them how to divide it, out, and how you work a problem. Going back to the 1.02, we're going to go back to the learn. And in this piece, again, there's another math cast. There's going to be another video that the students can watch. And again, if you're doing this in a blended classroom, these are great opportunities to put up on the whiteboard and do the whole class, and then break students up into different station rotations and have them do it together or work with one another in heterogeneous or homogeneous groups, however you set up your classroom. So these videos are wonderful for really reinforcing and being able to use in a blended classroom. So I'm going to go to the math cast, which is dividing whole numbers. This is the learn. And I want to show you the tools that are available for our students. So you see here, we have a tools button, and I'm going to click on that tools. I can move this anywhere I want, okay? If I click on this one, I can select this button, and if I select somewhere, it'll start reading to me. So that will read to the students along with them. You can also, when you go to the settings, stop that there. When you go to the settings, you can tell it how fast or how slowly you would like it to read. You can choose the voice name. You can choose the highlight colors. Okay. This will stop it. This will pause it. This will start it. There we go. When we go to translate, we can click the world.
Teresa, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Yep.
but we're having some audio problems hearing you. We're not hearing you terribly well. Would you mind maybe hanging up and dialing back in, see if we can get a better line for you? And while we do that,
sure.
I'm going to come back. So why don't you do that, and I'll turn over to Chris, and we'll talk a little bit about about the summit curriculum, and we'll wait for you to get back on. Is that okay?
Yep,
okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So we'll wait for you then. Chris, I'm going to just come back to you for a minute while we wait for Teresa, and talk a little bit about the summer curriculum. Teresa had talked a little bit about how they deliberately kept the video segment very short to keep students' attention. Can you talk a little bit about how long lessons are in the summit curriculum? How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's a great question. We hear that often. So yeah, Teresa mentioned with the videos, and the idea behind having a lot of those videos, especially at the start of lessons and units, is to keep things engaging and provide a lot of real-world examples for the students. So yep, they are heavily baked into these courses. An overall lesson is designed to take about 60 to 75 minutes to complete. And that's with, videos and also watching videos and the lesson content. 60 to 75 minutes to complete a lesson. Each course has approximately 90 lessons per semester, and on average, a student is expected to complete about 5 per week.
Okay, all right. And are the lessons of the same length, regardless of which path you're on course or supportive?
For the most part, yes. I think the supportive path may be slightly longer, but overall time isn't going to be vastly different. The main difference between the two, and this is another question that we get often, there's more scaffolding and a lot more kind of learning tools involved with the supportive path. It's really designed to help that learner out. So, for example, with the math lessons, a supportive level may have more scaffolding around math solutions, so it might be more steps, more guidance around the prerequisite skills, kind of more sort of practice problems that have more sequencing to them. And with an English lesson, that might involve more audio support or clickable keywords compared to what's in the on-level version.
Okay, great. All right, Teresa, do we have you back yet?
I am back. Is that better?
That is better. I'm sorry we had to do that to you, but you were cutting out, and I didn't want to have the audience lose what you were saying. So I'm going to turn things back over to you, and I'm sorry for the interruption.
Oh, no, thank you for letting me know. Okay. Thank you, Chris and Andrew, for taking over for me there. So we were looking at the learn, and I'm going to stay in the learn because I do want you to see that in this one, I'm showing a closer look at my whole numbers. When you get to this, you'll see based on readiness diagnostic results, students we placed on an automatic learning level, which you can override to manual at any time. So as the instructor, you have the ability to click here to go to the on-level activity to see what students are learning at that level. And you can also click the supportive level activity and see what students are doing at that level. So as the instructor, you have all of this available to you. And I'm sorry, Chris, if you said this while I stepped out. Students don't know which path they're on. You as the instructor know which path they're on, but they do not know. And they will only see the lessons that are available to them when they come to this screen. But you as the instructor have both. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go back up to my table of contents and then go quickly to the next part. They've had the opportunity. I was off. They had the opportunity to get ready to do the learning, and now again they're going to go to the practice. And if you remember from that original slide that I showed at one point, they're still on a different path. So here on the practice, and this is all differentiated and really personalized for each student depending on what they needed from their diagnostic assessment. So they've done learning on their level. Those ELL students have had the extra support that they might need, and now they're doing the practice at their level. Again, you're going to find different levels of practice for the different levels. And here they're going to have some, it really differentiates it here. It really scaffolds it here. First it goes through and says, as part of the problem, I asked them to fill in some of the steps. And it's not until they get through a few practice activities that they're actually doing the entire problems on their own. So it really scaffolds it to them to make sure that they know all the steps, especially in a math class. Once we get to review, they are both now back onto that same path. And with that, they've had the learning and the practice at their level. They are back on the same path and will be taking the same assessment. Chris, is there anything you want me to show before we move on that would be helpful?
No, I think you've, nothing else that I would call out right now. No.
Okay, great. Just want to call your attention to one more thing, the Your Choice. These are really days built into the curriculum for teachers to do extra projects, do extra work, do extra practice, and to use those for their classroom time to catch up on some maybe students falling behind, and also to give extra fun activities for the students based on the curriculum that they've gone over. So that's it for the live demo. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and we'll move on. Okay. Well, I hope you've enjoyed seeing what this curriculum looks like. It's really exciting. It's based on standards. It's based on standards in that we want kids to hit standards. We can see when they've hit those standards. We can give them more practice and more time with those standards if they haven't met them. All the diagnostics that are built into the Summit curriculum really reinforces that. And I hope that from today's live demo of this, you've been able to see that it is an engaging content. It really captures learners. It really brings them into not only what do I think I'm going to be learning about, oh, now I understand what I've learned about, and I can understand why this is important. We've heard from students, maybe our own children, many times, why am I learning this, right? So this curriculum really says this is why you're learning it. This is where you'll apply it someday. It is differentiated by students' needs. We know what students' needs are by meeting that diagnostic test. And yet what's important here too is to remember that the teacher also still has the control over that. Maybe the teacher knows a little bit more about that student and says, no, I don't really think they need that path. I'd rather have them on this path. We're all going to do this path together. So there's still that level of control that each teacher should have over his or her own classroom. It's also customizable by the data reports and the analytics, and these will drive your instruction. When you see that something that a standard has not been met by the entire class, stop your instruction. Use those Your Choice days to go back and really reinforce those standards, find different ways and different strategies to teach it and to practice it. Or you find that there's a group of students that didn't meet the standards, but a good number of them did. It gives you the ability to move on with some of those other students and have the other students continue to get the extra support that they need. Especially the ELL students, it's really important that they can dig into this content and still have the support that they need. Actually, when my phone went out, or when you weren't able to hear me, I was about to show another tool, which I wanted to bring up. That there is a tool on there that will translate different words. You can click on the word and click on translate, and it will tell you what that word is. And I believe there's 5 different languages that will translate that. So again, just one more aid for ELL students, or even students who are learning another language. They want to do some cross curriculum. They can look up that word in the language that they're learning. Along with that, it is accessible on a mobile compatible platform. So they've always got their school right there with them, and they are able to access it and get some not only fun and interesting videos because of the platform, but teachers are able to get the diagnostics that they need to have their instruction driven by standards. Finally, in moving on with this, I would like to invite everybody to visit our Summit webpage. There's more content there, and you can see right there the address www.fueleducation.com/summits curriculum. We would love you to come in, take a look at some of the videos. You can look at our course list. You can hear a little bit about blended learning, and just learn a little bit more about Summit and how that can be available to you. And Chris, just one more time, that's our contact information, so you can contact us at www.fueleducation.com. We'll leave that up for a little bit. And on that, Chris, I'm going to go ahead and, Andrew, I'm going to go ahead and turn this back to you.
All right, terrific. Well, thank you, Teresa, so much for taking us through that demo. And I'm sorry that we lost you there for a minute while we tried to deal with the audio issues, but that's just the way things happen. But we do have some time left for questions, and they have come in from the audience. So I'm going to look to both you and Chris for some answers to these. And maybe, Chris, I'm going to come back to you for the first question, which is about, and Teresa did mention, I think actually you did mention it early on, as to which subjects are covered at the moment. Math and English, I think, were mentioned. Could you talk about which subjects there is that Summit covers right now, and maybe talk about a future rollout of what people can expect coming down the line?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, we do only have those 8 courses that Teresa mentioned earlier on in the webinar. Those math courses, grades 6 through 11, and then English, grades 9 and 10. So those are, English and math are the only 2 subject areas. We're constantly kind of reviewing our product development plans. There's a lot of things that are in consideration right now. So there will be more details to come, certainly in the coming months ahead. But for right now, those will be the two subjects available for this coming school year. Okay, all right. Now, Teresa, you did provide us with a good walkthrough, a demo of the site. If teachers and schools want to take a deeper look, preview the site, is there somewhere that they can go? Chris, maybe this should be for you. Is there somewhere where they can go to get a further feel for how this works? So we don't have anything that's broadcast publicly, but we can absolutely have a member of our team get in contact with anybody interested and be able to discuss how to get a kind of a dedicated demo of this product. Oh, okay. All right. Terrific. And one other thing which we didn't really talk about too much is I wanted to talk a little bit about the mobile aspect of this, and this has become increasingly important, this idea of anytime, anywhere. Chris, could you talk us through how the summer curriculum works, and how does it work with different devices, and how is that all managed? Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of the key features of the Summit curriculum that we're especially excited about, and I think makes Summit certainly stand out. One of those kind of key things that went into the development of these courses was making them tablet friendly. So these courses are optimized for tablet, and then as we did reference earlier, they are designed to so you can use them kind of anytime, anywhere, if you will. But they are tablet friendly and designed to work on laptops, of course, as well. So there is that mobile aspect. Is a Wi-Fi connection needed to use the course, or is there an offline component as well? Let me confirm that with our product development team. I believe that it could vary. There may be some components that could work on either, but I do want to just take that back to our dev team and get specifics on that before I say anything. All right, thanks. That's fine. Teresa, I want to come back to you. I mean, I know you have been teaching
25 years you spent teaching in one capacity or another, so you have seen a lot of students come and go, and you talked early on in your presentation about the need for rich, engaging, interactive content. Can you talk a little bit about what students today expect in terms of content and interactivity and video, as opposed to what maybe you saw when you first entered the profession, and how important is it?
Sure. They're digital natives, and we definitely were not. So, and we watch kids, and they want to, they gravitate to their phones or their tablets to get an answer immediately. They want that immediate feedback. So, and that's one of the things that I love about this, is that they're getting that immediate feedback. We're feeding that need for immediate feedback, but also it's engaging. I feel like I've even heard my own children and my students say, "Why do I need this?" I think that is one of the nicest features of this. All of the videos are in here. Not only show them how to do what they're doing, but why. And students today want to know why. It's engaging to them. Oh, I understand why I need to divide. It's not just something a teacher told me to do. It's really going to help me in the future. I also like that it's built for different paths, and I think standards are so important. It's so important to see kids meeting standards and having the ability to come back if they haven't mastered a standard, to go back, do a little more practice, do a little more learning, and then come back and master that standard. It's not just about a one and done and, okay, you failed it, we're moving on. It's about, no, let's go back and master that standard with a variety of teaching methods, especially in a blended classroom. We're giving them time to work as a whole group, we're giving them time to work in groups, and we're also giving them individualized time on the device by themselves to really learn that material. So I think that just makes when you're switching up activities, it just makes it more engaging.
Okay. All right. Terrific. And I just want to come back to the initial assessment that is provided to students to see whether they're going to go into the supportive area or the other one. And a question from the audience is, do the assessments pull from a randomized question bank, or are they all exactly the same for each student? Teresa, do you want to handle that first?
Chris, are you taking that?
I can jump in. I can jump in there and shed some light on that. So the assessments themselves do not adjust for the student. So the assessment content is the same. However, results of the assessment, that is what could impact the course content that displays for the student, and whether that they're ultimately going to be on the supportive or on level path. But the assessments themselves are unchanged.
Okay. And just on a follow-up,
and I would just like,
someone else wants. Oh, sorry, Teresa, keep going. Sorry.
No, I just wanted to add to that, even though the paths are different, the assessments are still the same, and mastery of the standards is still the same.
Okay. All right. Now, someone else in the audience wanted to know about if a child is still having difficulty, even on the supportive level, will the program adapt to make it more accessible and more accessible? Does it sort of adapt to, within that supportive level, are there gradations of support, shall I say?
So, Andrew, a case like that would be up to the school or the teacher to determine if they need to be moved to a lower grade level, so the course won't take them to a lower grade level within it.
Okay. All right. And Chris, I'll stick with you with this one, with another student, with another audience question about how often these readiness diagnostic assessments are performed. When do students take them? How often do they take them? How does that work?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So they're taken at the start of each semester per course. So the start of the semester A, and then once again at the start of semester B.
Okay. All right. And I just want to come back to, Teresa, I know you did walk us through this, but I just want to come back to it. Could you just walk us through again an example of how a lesson might vary between an on-level student and a supportive learner? Can you just give us one more run through of how that might work and what it might look like?
Sure. I could go back and share and pull that up if that would be helpful, but it's just the learning is going to be different, the teaching is going to be different, and the amount of practice and the types of practice. So the path where there's more support is going to be a lot more scaffolded than perhaps they're both scaffolded, but it's going to be a lot more scaffolded and pulled down into more chunks of learning, as opposed to the path where the student is online or on level.
Okay, all right. Chris, I want to come back to you for the next question from the audience, which is, whether you have any plans to do anything in the post-secondary level. And there's someone else wanted to know whether this program could help at the community college level. Can you talk a little bit about the target audience and whether you might be expanding into higher education, community colleges, that kind of thing?
So just speaking in terms of like where things are at now, there's no plans to do that. So right now this is designed for the middle school and the high school level.
All right. Fine. All right. And let me I'm just going to go through and take one more look here through at some of the questions that we have coming in. Sorry. And well, we have only a couple more questions. Chris, you talked a little bit about the mobile component. Did you get a chance to find out, or is this something we could post maybe afterwards in the follow-up email about about whether this is something that can work offline or not? Did you get a chance to get an answer on that?
I haven't, but that's something we can absolutely distribute out after this as we follow up.
Okay, all right. And one final thing that someone wanted to find out about was the analytics side of this and the kind of analysis that a teacher can do of a class as a whole or on individual students. Chris, could you talk a little bit about this analytics tool and what its powers are and what it can do?
I'm sorry, Andrew, could you say that again? I think I missed the audio for just a minute.
Sorry, that's fine. I was just talking about the analytics tool that is built into the Summit curriculum. I just wanted to get some idea of the capabilities of the tool and what the teacher can see and analyze to see how their individual student or class is performing. Do you have any information you can share with us on that front?
Certainly. So the analytics, kind of the reports that are available are a lot more kind of enhanced than what we had offered in the past with some of our legacy courses. But kind of teachers are going to have at their disposal access to a lot of lesson overviews, activity previews, as well as like class data, so they'll be able to see student performance data, see how they did on different assessments, how they're trending throughout the course, and they'll also be able to see which students are on level versus on the supportive track. So kind of a lot of those types of things that they're going to have to really help them, kind of drive learning in the classroom.
Okay, great. And one final question that I have, unless some others come in while we are talking, one final question is coming is there an online teacher that provides any instruction? And in other words, if this were in an online environment, is there online instruction to accompany the curriculum?
Yes, we do have those available. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was just going to say yes. Fuel Education does have that available.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about how that works and how that would be set up?
Sure. All of our teachers are highly qualified, and they are they have a they are, sorry, they are per state. That's what I was trying to get at. So they are highly qualified, and they will, the curriculum will be delivered to the student through the same, through the computer, but the teacher will be there in the background doing the grading first. But our teachers also offer weekly online sessions, and actually, so a student could go to any online session for that course that they're taken by different teachers, because they'll be teaching throughout the week. And we do that so we can offer online sessions for every time zone. But yes, they will have opportunity to not only learn, but also attend office hours and just ask questions or whatever it is they need.
Okay, great. Well, that, I think we have actually gone through the questions that have come in from the audience. So I think we will actually wrap it up at that point. Unless, Chris, do you have anything further you want to add before we call it a day here?
No, nothing further for me. I just want to thank everyone again for joining us today, and we hope you found this informative. And please certainly get in touch should you want to learn more about Summit Curriculum. We'll absolutely have somebody have a conversation with you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you both, and Teresa. Also, thank you, you and Chris, for a really very, very interesting presentation about the Summit Curriculum. And I'd also like to thank Fuel Education for its support today. But that is, we'll call it a day there. But one final reminder for everyone in attendance: we will be sending out an email to everyone when the recording of the webinar is ready. So thank you all for coming and sharing an hour with us. And this concludes today's webcast.